Welcome to Spectrum News. I am Rachel David White, coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State. Let's take a look at the headlines. Senate President Akpabio promises to prioritize education. Plus, Sweden pledges over $500 million to rebuild Ukraine. We'll bring you details of stories and more in a moment. We begin with a breaking news where the Deputy National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress APC, Senator Abubakar Kyari, has emerged as the party's national chairman. Kyari succeeded Senator Abdullahi Adamu as the party's chairman after a National Working Committee NWC meeting in Abuja today. Briefing reporters after the NWC meeting, Kyari formally announced the resignation of Adamu and Senator Iola Omisore as the party's national chairman and national secretary, respectively. Kyari further said that in line with the constitution of the party, the Deputy National Security Festus Fonta will serve as acting national secretary of the party. Adamu was absent from the NWC meeting today, while Omisore stormed out of the meeting held at the party secretariat in Abuja. Kyari, who represented Borno North Senatorial District in the 9th National Assembly, presided over the APC NWC meeting. To Nigeria's leader now, President Bola Tinubu, who has departed Nairobi, the Kenyan capital, after participating in the 5th mid-year coordination meeting of the African Union, AU. Recall that the Nigerian leader left Abuja on Saturday for the meeting with other leaders in the continent and is expected to be back in the country today. At the AU meeting, the president said Africa cannot attain integration and prosperity while Africans languish in pain and anguish. He reaffirmed Africa's unity and strength while strongly rejecting the notion of a new scramble for the continent. Away from that, the federal government is set to unveil a new program, Pulaku Solution, geared towards ending the insecurity in the Northwest region. The Vice President, Kashim Shettima, disclosed this to journalists when he visited the Kano State Government House. The Vice President, who had earlier paid homage to the Emir of Bichi, said that the insecurity in the Northwest region could only be resolved through kinetic and non-kinetic means. Reports say the development comes less than 2 weeks after President Bola Tinubu told the recently appointed service chiefs that there is work to be done. From the red chambers now, where the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has the 10th Senate says, rather, the 10th Assembly will pass quality legislation that will raise the standard of education in the country. Akpabio met the pledge during the 10th National Institute for the Legislative and Democratic Studies (NILDS) / University of Benin. UNIP Senate President Senator Jibrin Barau Akpabio implored the matriculating students to see the opportunity of their admission as a great privilege, as the knowledge they will acquire cannot be found in conventional universities. He said that the programs would offer the matriculatants the needed knowledge to contribute to the nation's democracy and national development. From the Grange took the same format as the Senate held, largely behind closed doors. The service chiefs appointed by President Bola Tinubu includes Major General Christopher Musa, Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Taurid Lagbaja, Chief of Army Staff, Rear Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, Chief of Naval Staff, and Air Vice Marshal Hassan Abubakar, Chief of Air Staff. Meanwhile, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, has said that 10th Assembly during a visit to the Emir of Zazao in Zaria, Kaduna State, Ahmed Bamali. Abbas, who was welcomed to the palace, disclosed that majority of the members of the current House of Representatives understood the importance of the traditional institution in the affairs of the country. He added that he is aware of a written document by the Traditional Rulers Council across the 6 geopolitical zones about 3 years ago, stated how they From the financial sector, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has increased the tenure of the Managing Director and Chief Executive of banks to a maximum of 12 years from 10 years. This was disclosed in a circular on the new corporate governance guidelines for commercial, merchant, non-interest and payment service banks in Nigeria and signed by CBN Director, Financial Policy and Regulation Department, Chibuzo Ifobi. The central bank also increased the tenure of Deputy Managing Director, DMD, and Executive Director, ED, of a bank to a maximum period of 12 years. The Apex Bank stated that the objectives of their guidelines are to, among other things, provide additional guidance on the corporate governance standards for banks and promote high ethical standards amongst operators while enhancing public confidence. In another development, the Nigerian Police Force (NPF) has withdrawn the Police Mobile Force (PMF) personnel previously attached to prominent individuals, including Aisha Buhari, wife of former President Muhammadu Buhari, and his brother Maman Daura. Other personalities affected by the withdrawal include Boss Mustafa, a former secretary to the government of the Federation, and Iyo Chayu, a former Senate president. According to the authorities, the move comes as part of an ongoing reassessment and reorganization of security details by the Nigerian Police Force. The decision aims to optimize the deployment of police personnel and ensure the effective use of resources in line with prevailing security challenges in the country. Back here, Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Omoino has expressed interest to take over the Salvation Army Secondary School at Akwa Ibom. The state governor gave the indication while speaking at the Akwa Ibom South Zonal headquarters of the Salvation Army Church, Akwa Ibom, Nsukka local government area, where a special condolence service was held in commiseration of the church's ministers who were involved in the June 29 expressed the condolences of the state government to the Salvation Army and families of the fallen presbyters who were caught up in a tragic paraphernalia of government was indicative of value for the people of the state and respect for those affected by the incidents. On the part of the government, Pastor Omoino promised to ensure, while commending the church's effort in sustaining the school over time. Government House correspondent Jane Owa reports that delivering his sermon at the service tagged Trust in God, called back, admonished the church not to put their trust in human materials or anything that is not eternal, but should find their hope in the Almighty and eternal God, as the Bible of Ethiopians are expected to take part in a massive tree planting campaign, with the authorities saying they hope 500 million seedlings will be planted in 12 hours. But simmering violence in some areas could hinder people coming out in large rainy seasons over the last 4 years. In 2019, the government claimed 350 million seedlings were planted in a single day, something that has not been independently confirmed. At the time, the authorities said more than 20 million people took part in the campaign. Meanwhile, questions were raised by some about the reliability of the figures provided. Still in Africa, thousands of people yesterday gathered alongside President Faustin Archange Touadéra in Bangui, the capital of Central African Republic, to launch the referendum campaign on the new draft constitution that could allow the head of state stand for a third term. Touadéra had delivered the new constitution draft to the campaign organizers at the end of June. If provided and approved, the new constitution removes the limit of 2 terms to the president, therefore allowing the president to run for a third term in office. Reports say the draft constitution, which will also ban, which was held last Friday, where opposition leaders led a march over MINUSCA. Grain deal that allowed Ukraine to export grain through the Black Sea. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry cargo ships passed through the Black Sea from the port of Odessa and another port, but Moscow's development. Sweden's government today announced it was pledging 6 billion kroner, $586 million in aid to rebuild Ukraine and facilitate reforms to pave the way for EU membership. International Development Cooperation Minister Johan Forsell said specifically developed for Ukraine. Reports say the funds would be targeted to, among other things, help build up Ukraine infrastructure and institutions such as healthcare, but would also be used to increase Ukraine's access to fossil-free energy and transition to greener technologies. And still to come in the news, sporting, Lagos wins maiden Niger Super and 8th tourney. Just stay with us. Welcome back and many thanks for staying with us. On our business news, Nigeria's Consumer Price Index CPI rose to 22.79% in June from the 22.41% recorded in May 2020. According to the latest open prices of goods and services, the report also showed that good inflation spiked to 25.25% on a year-on-year basis, which is higher than 20.60% recorded in June 2022. The year-on-year basis rate Still in business, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria (MAN) has expressed concern over the impending displacement of local meter manufacturers and assemblers in the downstream of the power sector in the process of government implementation of the NMMP Phase 2 World Bank funded supply of 1.2 million smart energy meters. A statement by MAN says the advertised financial requirement and the technical specifications by the Transmission Company of Nigeria appeared to be titled against local manufacturers as they were outrageously stringent and negated the Central Bank of Nigeria guidelines for the implementation of the National Mass Metering Program. According to the manufacturers, in keeping with the federal government backward integration policy and the advent of the NMP intervention, manufacturers had made huge investment in the expansion of manufacturing capacities, trained and permitted a highly skilled workforce to meet the demands of the power sector as envisaged in the Nigeria electricity supply industry. Has embarked on an indefinite strike following the alleged kidnap of its member, Ekanem Ephraim, from her residence in meeting and signed by the NMA State Chairman Dr. Felix Achibong and Secretary Dr. Freeman Egbe. The NMA noted that all efforts met to ensure the release of its member has been futile. The association noted that it is aware that withdrawal of services would bring about hardship on the citizens, but appealed to the relevant security agencies to ensure a timely release of its abducted member. And still in health, medical experts have said that lack of patient education and access to funds are a major challenge in prevailing Nigeria's health sector in the past 5 years. A consultant gynecologist Lagos said patient education is the major as people who lack the basic knowledge of how their body system works will consider healthcare to be a doctor's business only. The fertility expert further noted that accessibility to healthcare countries of the world costs money. He urged the patients to get involved in anything that concerns their body because the burden would always be on them if there are mistakes. Met in Niger's Super 8 champions of Niger Professional Football League 2023. With the victory, the Lagos side received their prestigious tournament trophy and 25 million naira prize money. This was in addition to the 12 million naira earned, further 9 million in addition to the 12 million naira earned in their 4 previous Niger Super 8 matches. And still in sport colors, Alcaraz defeated 7-time champions Novak Djokovic to claim his first Wimbledon title yesterday, shattering the Serb's dream of a record-equaling 24th Grand Slam crown. The world number 1 Alcaraz recovered from dropping. Reports say it was the second major for the 20-year-old Spaniard following his US Open title last year, as he became Wimbledon's third youngest men's champion. Launched an investigation into the tragic killing of an individual at Bar 39 nightclub in the Fadey area of Lagos State. It is alleged that the killer was Trev Boy, a former assignee of popular Afrobeat artist Davido. The incident occurred last Sunday night. The police say they have launched an investigation into the matter. Benjamin Hondain, the police public relations officer, in a tweet today confirmed that investigations are underway. The police spokesperson, according to him, the car and the document in it are in police custody. Again, on entertainment news, the owner of Twitter, Elon Musk, has said Twitter had lost half of its advertising revenue since he bought the social media platform for $44 billion last October. Musk, who has been outspoken about the difficulties facing the company, broke the figures in a tweet response to a user who verified accounts to reading 10,000 tweets a day in a bid to address extreme levels of data scraping and system manipulation by third-party platforms. And that is all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtv.ng. Also follow us on Twitter at spectrumtonline, all as one word. You've been watching Spectrum News at 4. I am Rachel David White. Good afternoon.